From deeply questionable sleeping locales to a frightening need to keep a character's mannerisms going long after the day's shooting is over, you can safely file these various actor escapades that went down away from the lens under pretty darn strange. I'm Gareth from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 weird things you won't believe actors did after filming. Number 10. The Rock pushed himself to black out with real chains 8 times. Hercules. It has to be said that you usually wouldn't be too quick to class Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as an actor who is deeply committed to legitimately living and breathing the same experience as the characters he plays on the big screen. After all, if that was consistently the case, he'd have likely sincerely fallen off a skyscraper and or been made roadkill by a genuine raging bull by now. However, a few years before those aforementioned big screen moments came about, Rocky was seemingly determined to show he meant business on the set of 2014's Hercules, when sharing the screen with the likes of John Hurt and Ian McShane. So instead of using fake chains for a scene that saw his titular character break free from imprisonment and roar his name aloud, Johnson had the real thing installed on the day. The only issue with this was the fact that his monumental buildup of adrenaline from the roar and lack of give instantly resulted in him blacking out seconds after the shot was in the can. But no matter, Johnson well and truly lay in his bed and performed the scene a whopping 8 times in total. That is a lot of fainting. Number 9. Halle Berry didn't fancy a shower. Jungle fever. There's nothing quite like treating yourself to a nice warm shower after a long hard day of shooting with movie-making royalty in the form of Samuel L. Jackson, Wesley Snipes, and Spike Lee. However, determined to ensure her first real movie performance was a memorable one, Halle Berry decided to give up that luxury when bringing Vivian to life. In the end, in order to authentically step into the role of, as she put it, a crack hoe, Berry decided to forego baths and showers for a whopping 8 weeks over the course of the shoot, meaning she felt and likely smelt every bit the part when it came time to shoot for Lee's Jungle Fever. This was all part of Berry's plan to not play the gorgeous girl and eliminate that part of her persona. Looking back on her impressive turn in the acclaimed romantic drama, there is no doubt that Berry's willingness to break free from what others perceived her as helped pave the way for a career full of compelling and often surprising performances. Number 8. Robert De Niro picks up strangers throughout the shoot. Taxi Driver. Despite already starring in the likes of Mean Streets and The Godfather Part 2, around the time of shooting on Martin Scorsese's now legendary Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro was still able to walk down the street without having just about every man and his dog shout, "Yo, De Niro!" Had he not been, it's likely the star wouldn't have been able to partake in his extracurricular activity of choice whilst taking up the reins of Travis Bickle, that being genuinely driving around New York in a cab and picking up strangers to drop off. Far from just deciding on a whim to commandeer a yellow vehicle and play pretend though, De Niro actually acquired a genuine taxi license before the shoot and chose to dive into 12-hour shifts of ferrying folks around the city. But instead of dropping the job when it came time to film, De Niro continued doing the business whenever the crew were on breaks during the shoot, no doubt helping him keep in the mindset of the unstable Bickle. Number 7. Kate Winslet took her German accent home. The Reader. Keeping up an accent when the cameras stop rolling is a surprisingly common way for a performer to maintain as consistent and convincing a vocal quality as possible over the course of bringing a character to life for a flick or TV show. But refusing to drop your twang on set is one thing, bringing that baby home to the family is something else entirely. That's precisely what eventual Oscar winner Kate Winslet decided was the best course of action when immersing herself in the role of on-trial former Nazi guard Hannah Schmidt in The Reader. Keeping up the German facade whilst going about her daily life at home, the impressive actor refused to drop the accent even when reading bedtime stories to her children. This no doubt surreal addition to the kids' nighttime routine ultimately led to them asking their mother to just be plain. Don't do any funny stuff like voices. Just be regular. When your mother is an Academy Award-winning actor extraordinaire, regular is never to be expected, let's face it. Number 6. Jim Carrey lets Andy Kaufman take the wheel. Man on the Moon. When Jim Carrey's Andy Kaufman biopic, Man on the Moon, first hit movie screens back in 1999, though the film itself received a somewhat mixed reception, the leading man was the talk of the town. However, with the eventual release of the Jim and Andy The Great Beyond Netflix documentary, dedicated to unveiling the real truth about what went into bringing Carrey's performance of Kaufman into existence, some startling discoveries were brought to light. Feeling as though he'd been possessed by the spirit of the late comedy genius, Carrey fully believed Kaufman had entered his vessel and even recalled a moment when he was told by the comedian, "Sit down, I'll be doing my movie," after attempting to communicate with him telepathically. What came next was a rollercoaster of a production, with Carey as determined as Kaufman would have been to challenge, confuse, and aggravate those around him. The star even conversed with Kaufman's biological daughter on the set one day, all whilst Carey refused to break character. Number 5. Robin Williams took Mrs. Doubtfire out for a stroll. Mrs. Doubtfire. One performer who never struggled in terms of taking a concept and running with it until the rest of the pack were merely a speck on the horizon was none other than the late, great Robin Williams. Known for his unrivaled improvisational skills and razor-sharp wit. Both of those impressive assets were called into action when the much-loved acting star was required to immerse himself in prosthetics, as the titular Mrs. Doubtfire in the 1993 smash hit. Yet, while many other thespians in this situation likely would have preferred to enjoy a little downtime between takes, whilst heavily bogged down by the makeup that transformed the comedy legend into the supposed nanny of the Hillard kids, Williams decided to hell with that and hit the town in full Doubtfire mode. The star even revealed during a Reddit AMA in 2013 that he once wandered into a sex shop midway through the shoot as the character, and almost came away with a double-headed dildo before the cashier finally spotted it was him. As Williams himself put it, "Did I make the purchase? No. Did I walk away with a really good story? Yes." Number 4. Daniel Day-Lewis texted as Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln. There's method acting, and then there's Daniel Day-Lewis method acting, a form of immersion that pretty much sees the Oscar-winning sensation completely disappear for the duration of a movie shoot, with the personality he is tasked with bringing to life largely taking over. Over the years, Day-Lewis has taken going the extra mile to near unprecedented lengths, refusing to leave a wheelchair for his work on My Left Foot, building canoes for The Last of the Mohicans, and spending 48 hours in solitary confinement in the lead-up to In the Name of the Father, being just a few notable examples of his frightening commitment. But perhaps the most surreal instance of Day-Lewis embracing the part to the extreme came during the making of Lincoln, when not only did the actor only respond to Mr. President, but he also only communicated to other cast members as the iconic figure when offset too. Despite Abe not being known for his texting abilities, that still wouldn't stop Day-Lewis signing off all of his texts to colleagues with "Yours, A," when buzzing each other on the phone. Sally Fields also reportedly repaid the favor by responding as his wife, Mary. What a pair. Number 3. Frances McDormand lived in her van. For a bit. Nomadland. It's not hard to see precisely why Frances McDormand managed to walk out of the latest Academy Awards ceremony with another shiny gong to add to her ever-growing collection. Her performance as a working nomad who takes up residence in a van after the death of her husband is as honest as it is uncompromising over the course of Chloe Zhao's Nomadland. But McDormand wasn't happy just rocking up to set and shifting her mind and body into the space of fun. She wanted to very much live and experience what it meant to live within the four wheels of a vehicle, for a while at least. With Zhao bringing in some legitimate nomads to work and perform in front of the camera for the flick, McDormand thought it only right that she embrace the van living on-the-road lifestyle. However, after living out of her van, nicknamed Vanguard, for a sizable amount of the shoot, and once the cameras had stopped rolling too, the actor soon decided it was more trouble than it was worth. Admitting, "At 61, it's much better for me to pretend to be exhausted than to actually be exhausted. I figured that out." Number 2. Jim Brewer got high after filming, only to be brought back for another shot. Half-baked. When shooting a project that goes by the moniker of half-baked, it's pretty much inevitable that a certain recreational activity will rear its head on set sooner rather than later. Despite the film going on to become a stoner cult classic though, one of its stars, Jim Brewer, was determined to treat his part in the flick as seriously as possible, and refrained from sparking up throughout the entire period of filming on set, almost. As it goes, Brewer was under the impression that his day of shooting was completely finished up on one particular occasion, so sensing he could now sit back and unwind, Brewer enjoyed a smoke with co-star Dave Chappelle. Only a sudden change in schedule suddenly meant he was needed on set for one last scene. Forced to power through despite feeling wholly paranoid, Brewer admitted it wasn't his finest work in front of a camera, with his offset smoke-induced performance resulting in Chappelle even telling him, "Come on man, get your act together." In case you're wondering, said blazed bum note of a turn can be seen in the "Sucks to be you, man" scene. Number 1. Gary Oldman slept in a coffin every night. Bram Stoker's Dracula. If you thought camping in a van for a great many nights was a painful way of committing to the cause, then do I have the Gary Oldman tale for you. Much like the likes of De Niro and Day-Lewis earlier in this list, the British acting legend is fond of thoroughly immersing himself in the world of a character. You've likely already heard of the time he smoked $30,000 worth of cigars to crack the egg that was Winston Churchill. But Oldman's antics offset in the making of Bram Stoker's Dracula make those cigar-induced stomach issues look like child's play. According to co-star Kerry Ellis when talking to The Hollywood Reporter, Francis Ford Coppola brought the cast to Napa and had them stay in guest houses when working on the flick. But while the director had all of the vampire hunters live together to help build chemistry, Oldman was banished to a house on his own. Taking his commitment to whole new levels, Ellis also revealed Gary was sleeping in a coffin every night. That was how seriously he took it. That's one way to convincingly and consistently rock up to set looking like an undead vampire, I suppose. You do you, Gary. And that's our list. Know of any other weird things people don't believe actors did after filming? Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button. Also, be sure to head on over to whatculture.com and find some more incredible articles just like the one this video you are watching is based on. I've been Gareth from whatculture.com. Thank you as always for clicking on this video today, and I'm sure I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.